Today I'm gonna talk about Jimmy Wilde. He was the first ever flyweight champion, regarded the first recognized flyweight champion from the UK. I looked at a couple of his fights. You know, he fought back in the 19 teens and 20s. So you don't have that much footage on the guy, but some of the fights that I've seen, some of the fight clips that I've seen on him, he was technically pretty good fighter. I mean, I know how people say the guys in the 1920s and 30s fought all wild and they didn't have good footwork, but from the film that I seen, the couple fights that I seen, seeing some rounds, he was technically pretty good. I mean, he had a pretty good jab, a nice stiff jab at that. He at least he was using a jab often, and he was pretty slick in there. He had pretty good foot movement too. He was fighting going backwards. He was fighting coming forward. He looked technically probably advanced beyond his time. That's probably why he had the success he had back then. They had stories that this one guy said he fought like a lot of guys in one day and was knocking them out. That's just ludicrous, man. I know that he had over a hundred wins in his career. I seen on Box Rec it says that he had 99 knockouts, and I seen a couple videos on him that said he had 100 knockouts. But back then some people probably have it mixed up of his knockout record, and even his record itself. But it says he had 99 knockouts. I'm gonna go with Box Rec. He had 99 knockouts. He had 132 wins. He had 3 losses, 1 draw, and no contest. 5 fights, no contest. He had some paper decisions. Back then they had the paper decisions, so he had some paper decisions. He was the and still regarded as the best fighter from the UK, the best fighter the UK has ever had. His nickname was the Atom. Was it the Atom? Something like that. His nickname was the Atom. He had over. Now they say his winning streak was 104 with no knockouts. Now that's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? 104 with no knockouts. I know Ray Robinson. I think Ray Robinson had 91 wins with no knockout. The guy was he played head games with his opponents. Man, he came in the ring because they used to weigh in the ring back then, in the actual ring and weigh in, and he came in with all his clothes on and came in a pound under his weight limit. So guys was playing psychological warfare even back then. They were playing those psychological games. I know Sugar Ray Robinson. He used to drink pig blood or chicken blood or some stuff like that before his fights to try to psych out his opponent or try to get under his opponent's get in his opponent's mindset. And one of his opponents tried to do what he did. One of Jimmy Wild opponents tried to come in without weighing in. I mean, without taking his clothes off. He had all his clothes on, and he did not. He did not weigh in under the limit. He had to go back. He weighed in a pound over, so he had to go take his clothes off and weigh in with his clothes off. But this this guy, he fought bantamweights and featherweights. He went up and he never won the bantamweight title. I don't believe. I don't believe he won the featherweight title. But they said he was knocking out bantamweights and featherweights. So the guy had tremendous power, man. They called him the mighty Atom, and the Ghost, because I seen in one of the videos I was looking at, the guy said they called him the Ghost because his defense was so good. When you punch, he's not there. So the guy was not only a guy that knocked guys out, he had defensive prowess as well. So he was able to disarm his opponent with his defense and his offense. So, hey, you can combine the two. You can be defensively and offensively at the same time. Now, when guys say, "Oh, in Lord style, he's more defensive. Mayweather is more defensive." You had these guys that's more defensive, and they say, "Oh, well, the art of boxing is a hit and not get hit." Yes, it is a hit and not get hit. The art of boxing, but you have to do some hitting. Don't forget the hitting part. You know what I'm saying? Some guys do minimum hitting. You know, this Jimmy Wilde guy, he did both. He was able to construct both hitting and defense. Because Pernell Whitaker once said, it's no sense of making a guy miss if you don't make him pay. If you make a guy miss, make him pay. And most fighters today, yeah, they'll make a guy miss, but they won't make the guy pay. They'll make the guy miss and get all the way out the way and won't be there for their offense. And these guys, they don't use the jab, man. This guy back in the 1910s, 1920s, this guy was using the jab really, really well. But guys don't use the jab as often now. I don't know. Most guys want to lead with power shots, and everybody is not equipped to lead with power shots because it's balance. You have to be on balance to throw your power shots. That's why it's good to lead with the jab, feel the man out, feel where he's moving, and then you can time your power shots. Most guys want to lead with power shots. Yes, power is good, but most power shots you can see them before they come. You able to move out the way, and if your opponent move out the way, then you off balance because you have already committed to the punch. And a lot of these fights that are close or so-called robberies, or we think a guy had, what I'm saying, a guy got robbed. If you use your jab, you can win those slow rounds because it's always slow rounds. You know what I'm saying? Why guys are at top peak condition, but you cannot fight at a furious pace every minute of every round. You know what I'm saying? The jab allows you to take a breather too. My trainer used to always tell me the jab is the easiest punch to throw. When you're tired, the jab is the easiest punch to throw. And this guy Jimmy Wilde, he was 23 years old. He already had 100 fights. I mean, back then they fought a lot. So that's why I don't compare the guys now to the fighters that's fighting now to the guys that fought back then. Because the wear and tear on your body with all those bouts, all those fights, yeah, people were like, oh man, those guys was not technically good, but still, you still putting out the effort, you still putting out the work, you still throwing punches, you still receiving punches. To fight 100 something times is crazy. Well, it's crazy nowadays. Nowadays, you won't. What's the last 100 win fighter? You know what I'm saying? I know. The guy I used to spar with, Harold Brazier. He got 106 wins. I know a lot of people don't know Harold Brazier, but Harold Brazier did fight Pernell Whitaker. He fought Roger Mayweather. I believe he fought Mickey Ward, and he fought Meldrick Taylor, I believe. So he did fight some notable fighters. He didn't beat the top fighters, but he did. He managed to win 106 fights, man. That's still great to me. Win 106 fights, that's still great. He had 68 knockouts, but Chavez, he had over 100 fights. Your boy Campos had over 100 fights. There's some other people that had over 100 fights, but not that many in the modern age had that over 100 fights, man. Not a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? It's some guys that got 60 something fights, like Pacquiao, James Toney. I believe Roy Jones got close to 60. Roy Jones got like 50, but now Hopkins got like 50 something, I believe. So, you know what I'm saying? And we think that's great, but these guys fought over 100 times. You know what I'm saying? Guys like Sugar Ray Robinson, guys like, you know what I'm saying, Jake LaMotta, those guys fought over 100 times, man. So, Jimmy Wilde, to me, from what I seen, he was technically pretty good. From the fighters that you see back then, he looked like he was, beyond his time of the fighters that was fighting then. And they say that he was they named BoxRec named him the one of the three greatest punchers of all times. So to me, that's crazy for the man is a flyweight. he was one of the three greatest punchers of all times. So it was a bad little guy, man. I know we like Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? Manny Pacquiao did move up in weight and ended up at 154. I think Pacquiao started at what 106, and he did end up at 152 catch weight when he fought Margarito. But this guy, man, this guy was a small guy. He had 99 knockouts. That's he didn't fight outside of the UK though. He didn't come to America to fight. In 1990, he was elected into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. So, he was recognized for his work in the ring. He was the number one flyweight of all times. He was voted the greatest bantamweight ever in 2014 by the Houston Boxing of Hall of Fame. Okay, so somebody recognized him as the best bantamweight of all times. Okay, so this was a bad little man, a bad, bad, bad little man. Oh, okay. Wilde traveled to the United States. So he did come to the United States for a series of fights, and on December 6th, he lost to Little. So they say um, he did. Are they trying to say that he did travel to the United States, or he didn't travel to the United States? So I listened to one of his. It wasn't a documentary. It was one of his fights, and they was talking on some of the guys I guess that knew him, not knew him, but some guys that did some research on him. They said that he didn't fight outside of the United States, but here they saying he fought outside of the United States. But at any rate, still, whether he didn't fight outside the United States or not, the guy was a pretty good fighter, man. He got a couple books out. I would like to get one of his books and read one of his books, but I like to see these guys nowadays fight more. I don't understand with the new technology. Got like if you say guys are bigger, stronger, faster, and knowing how we know about medicine now, why these guys can't fight more, and these guys are making more money. Those guys didn't make a whole lot of money back then, but I mean, guys. I mean, until you turn about what, and probably till you turn about 30, like because your prime your prime years probably are about 25 to like what 35. So you got like a 10-year window for your prime. Until you about 32, 33, guys should be able to fight at least 4 times a year. And I mean, at the very least, guys should be fighting 4 times a year, barring any injury or anything like that. Guys should be fighting 4 times. I ain't saying you have to fight 4 top-notch people a year, but out of that 4, you should be fighting 2 really good fights. I mean, you deserve 2 in between fights, and you know what I'm saying, in between there. But when you say Sandy Sattler, you know what I'm saying, guys like that, and guys that fought like over 100 times, and then you want to try to compare him to like Pacquiao. Pacquiao did fight 60 sometimes, but that still don't compare to like 100 sometimes. Is like, man, that's 40 some bouts more than Pacquiao. So, we got to get these guys that fought. See, Pacquiao and them are standing on the shoulders like Sugar Ray Robinson, guys like Muhammad Ali, guys like Jake LaMotta, you know what I'm saying? Guys like Floyd Patterson, they stand on the shoulders of those guys. So to say that you're better than the guys that you stand on the shoulders of, you have to do something greater than what they did. You can't equal. You can't you can't equal what they did and say, well, I'm better than them, or I got belts in 8 different weight classes. The reason why Pacquiao got belts in 8 different weight classes is because there's so many belts. I like Manny Pacquiao, but how many times has he been undisputed? Pacquiao has never been undisputed. Never been undisputed in his career. Mayweather has never been undisputed. Bernard Hopkins been undisputed. Ray Leonard been undisputed. Hagler was undisputed. Muhammad Ali been undisputed. Ray Robinson been undisputed. Floyd Patterson, guys like that. But I mean, to say you better than the guy that's been undisputed because you say you won, you know what I'm saying, you won 8 titles in 8 different weight classes. Like Mayweather go around and say, well, I won, or I beat 21 or 23 former or current world champions. Come on, man. It's too many belts out there. Back in the day when there was only 8 weight classes and a belt to each weight class, most of those guys that Mayweather beat will be contenders. Let's be honest. Most of them be contenders. Most of them wouldn't even probably be, you know what I'm saying, an undisputed champion. So you got to put stuff in perspective, man. You gotta know how to put stuff in proper context. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about, you have to do your research to look at who came before your favorite fighter before you say your favorite fighter. And I mean, it's a matter of opinion. Some of it is a matter of opinion, like style wise. You could say style wise, I like this guy better than that guy. You know what I'm saying? You could say, well, I like Roberto Duran better than Ray Leonard, or I like Floyd better than Oscar De La Hoya. I like the style better. You know what I'm saying? You can say that, but to say that a guy only fought 30 or 40 times better than the guy that fought over 100 times, I don't know, man. Because you didn't take your body through the same wear and tear. I don't know if I don't even know if Mayweather would have fought back then. I don't know if his hands could have even hold up because he got brittle hands. I don't even know if his hands would have been would could hold up for 100 fights. You welcome, Barker 767. But you know what I'm saying? I was just doing a little piece on Jimmy Wild. I came upon him. I was looking at something and I just seen. I was looking up another fighter. I forgot what I was doing, man. But I was like, man, look at this dude, man. Little dude, 99 knockouts. The first UK champion. He was the best recognized flyweight champion of you know what I'm saying, of the modern era, or, well, of, boxing period. So you know what I'm saying. I like to go back and look at the older fighters, man, like guys back in the 1900s, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and get a good look on these guys, because back then you had a true champion for every weight class. You didn't have to worry about, well, this is the regular WBC champion, this is the silver WBC champion, and this is the, what they call it, the the super WBC champion. That's too much. That's look, man, that's too many belts. Too many belts. They need to just consolidate. Well, they won't never consolidate the belts because the belts bring money to the you know what I'm saying, to all these sanctioning bodies. That's why they will never, because you can sell to a casual fan, you can sell a championship fight, and people will look, oh man, that's the champion, but then they get confused when they say, well, there's another champion in the same weight class. It's like 4 or 5. No, actually, it's like 8 champions in one different weight class. We got the super, we got the gold champion, we got the all this old stupid stuff, man. That's why we got the confusion we have in boxing now. We should just have one champion, and then you have a top 10. Plain and simple. Top 10, one champion in every sanctioning body, every every weight class. Just have a champion so we can see who the face is, and we can see the 10 contenders that's trying to take off the head of the champion. Then it will be no dispute of who's ducking, who don't want to fight who, because guess what? In order to be a champion, you have to fight your way up to get to the champion. And if you don't want to be a champion, okay, that's fine. We don't have to argue about who's the best, this and that, debate about it. It'll be in black and white. But yeah, man, I just want to do this piece on Jimmy Wilde, man. Little small little piece. But you know what I'm saying? Until the next one, I'm out.